There are a lot of ways to look at spiritual transformation and awakening, but one of them is to just simply recognize that when we are awake, when we discover this true nature beyond the mind and ego, this enlightened consciousness, that we're in touch with life. We've now come fully into contact with reality, meaning our lens is no longer distorted, and our heart, our feeling sense is no longer shut down and defended, but we are now fully here. We're here. Our attention and awareness is fully here. Our heart, our feeling sense is fully present, where like all of our humanity is able to show up in each moment.
Welcome to Meditation Changes Everything with spiritual teacher Craig Hamilton, a podcast exploring the deeper potentials of meditation practice and how it can change every aspect of human life. In this episode, Craig dives into a profound question. What would it mean to be fully in contact with life? Is it possible to meet each moment with a truly open heart and mind? Most of us understand the value of being open-hearted and open-minded, but years of conditioning often lead us to stay guarded, clinging to certainty. Can meditation help us unlock the secret to genuine openness? Today, Craig explores this possibility and leads a guided meditation to help expand awareness and dissolve old limitations, bringing us into a full-hearted embrace of the present moment. We hope you enjoy the show. Here's Craig.
So what we're exploring here is an approach to meditation that I call the practice of direct awakening. It's about meditating in such a way that we, in each meditation, are directly stepping into awakened consciousness, spiritually awakened consciousness. We're not preparing for a future moment of awakening. We're not trying to gradually deconstruct the obstacles to awakening. We're simply doing practices to access the deepest, truest part of who and what we are in the moment of the meditation, so that there's no postponement of our opportunity to live this life fully in each and every moment. So, one way of understanding what spiritual awakening is would be to simply say that it's having an open heart and a spacious mind. And it's one way of looking at how awakening manifests meaningfully in a human being. There are a lot of ways to look at spiritual transformation and awakening, but one of them is to just simply recognize that when we are awake, when we discover this true nature beyond the mind and ego, this enlightened consciousness, that we're in touch with life. We've now come fully into contact with reality, meaning our lens is no longer distorted, and our heart, our feeling sense is no longer shut down and defended, but we are now fully here. We're here. Our attention and awareness is fully here. Our heart, our feeling sense is fully present, where like all of our humanity is able to show up in each moment. And often people will ask, especially when they start to tap into this, discover this possibility, this question comes, well, why aren't we just this way naturally? I mean, this seems like the most natural way to be. It's even called in Vajrayana Buddhism, it's referred to as the natural state, because in a sense we discover what it's like to be a natural human being, just be here, flowing with life, spontaneously responsive to what's happening, without distortion, without fear, without contracting away from life. Like, why wouldn't that just be how humans are? We seem to function better this way, so why haven't we? It's actually an interesting evolutionary question, really, because if we're supposedly well adapted to our environment, why wouldn't this adaptation have already occurred, where we became, because it is the ultimate adaptation. As we discover awakened consciousness, we find we become much more effective, much more functional. We're not, because why? Because we're not making inaccurate meaning out of events. What is so often gets in our way is that we misinterpret things. Somebody says something, we personalize it, or we impugn their we misattribute their motives. We think, they said that thing, they were trying to hurt me, or they said that, we have some story about it when it's not what was happening, but that's our, we distorted it. And so we make bad decisions, or we encounter some difficulty. We're trying to do something big, a new project, an entrepreneurial venture, or whatever, and we encounter some obstacles, and we say, oh, wow, maybe this isn't really meant to happen, or maybe this isn't going to work, as opposed to just, oh, how do I solve this problem? How do I solve this problem? So we could go through the hundreds of cognitive biases that human beings have, the over a dozen, can't remember the number right now, of different ego defenses we have, but there's just all these mechanisms that get in our way of being a fully optimized, present, human being who's seeing clearly and responding in a kind of natural, holistically intelligent way to situations. So, to kind of simplify all that, we could say that what keeps us from this natural state, from this awakened way of being, is a kind of defense structure, a defense system against reality, a distortion and defense system inside us that itself was no doubt an evolutionary adaptation, something that emerged over a long time and in some ways equipped us for survival in a threatening world, no doubt. I've often said that the human ego, which is one way of describing the obstacle to awakening, is sort of like a little evolutionary maladaptation that was built on top of a kind of healthy evolutionary adaptation. In other words, our survival mechanism evolved and is very strong, but then as our kind of complex sense of self and our inner ability to conceptualize the self, or self-concept, self-image, story about ourselves, our beliefs about ourselves, as that came into being, this self-reflexive consciousness that humans have, our survival mechanism latched onto that and said, oh, I need to defend this too. I need to make sure this survives too, this inner self concept. And so then we develop this complex machinery to defend our self-concept, our self-image, and our worldview, right? Why is it so hard for us to let in, to accept truths that contradict what our pre-existing beliefs? You look at big part of what's wrong with the world, what's troubling us all is the polarization. But, a lot of that, it has a lot of causes and a lot of reasons that many of us have studied sociologically, et cetera. But, part of it is just simply that, it's hard for people to let go of their preconceived notions. So again, all of that is a kind of complex defense system inside us that keeps us invulnerable, makes it hard for us to change, hard for us to see things clearly, prone to misinterpretation, misunderstanding, reactivity, etc. And there's a kind of cognitive component to it, which is, as I mentioned, kind of all that bias. And then there's an kind of emotional component to it, which is more the defended heart, that I don't want to feel that deeply. I don't want to feel certain feelings. So what if, as a spiritual practice, as a meditation practice, we just sort of went straight at that and we said, okay, what would be the practice that would directly pivot out of that whole survival machinery? And one answer to that question would be having an open heart and a spacious mind. The open heart to let down our defenses and let ourselves fully feel without prejudice, without contraction, without defendedness, and having a spacious mind, which means a mind that's not rigidly holding on to preconceptions. It's not holding on to pre-existing beliefs. It doesn't need to be certain. It doesn't need to be right. It doesn't need, I know the truth. It's much more, I don't know. I'm open. I'm innocent. I'm receptive. I'm curious, but I'm not, sure, I know some things, but even the things I think I know might not be true. How do I know they're true? So I'm holding everything lightly. I'm not believing the stories that my mind makes up in a knee-jerk way. I have a spacious mind, a mind in which thoughts can arise and I don't fixate on them. I don't identify with them. So our direct awakening practice is to directly practice letting down the defenses around our heart and opening up our mind to be a spacious, fluid place, process. And with that, I want to invite you into your meditation posture. And allowing yourself to rest in this open-heartedness, softening the boundaries around your heart, allowing yourself to fully feel life, this moment, undefended. As you rest in this open-heartedness, I want to also invite you to allow your mind to become spacious, which means your consciousness, your awareness. Just allow it to become vast, wide, and deep. Having a spacious mind means not getting involved with our thoughts, not grasping onto the thought stream, means allowing thoughts to come and go, naturally, easily. So we're not trying to control the mind. We're not trying to force it to become spacious. We're simply making a lot of room in the mind, making a lot of room. Allow yourself to rest in this openness and spaciousness in the mind. It's a spaciousness that has room for whatever the mind is doing, whatever thoughts are coming and going. We all have a lifetime of momentum of getting involved with thought. We tend to spend our lives thinking, which means engaging with the mind. So when we meditate, it's natural, it's common for us to find ourselves getting distracted from the meditation. Rather than seeing that as a problem or trying to figure out how not to get distracted, in this practice, you can simply make room for even the distraction. And as soon as you notice that you've become distracted and that now you're thinking about something that happened this week, or you're thinking about what you're going to do tomorrow, you just continue with the meditation practice as though you were never distracted at all. You just carry on. The moment you realize you're distracted, you're no longer distracted. You're present again. So there's nothing that needs to be done. Just carry on meditating, having an open heart and a spacious mind, being present in this moment for whatever occurs, awake to it all, feeling it all. Allow yourself to gently ease out of the meditation. In doing this practice or any meditation practice, we have to have an open heart for ourself as well. Because meditation, if we do it for any length of time, invariably we find it challenging sometimes. And if we find ourselves getting tangled up in knots with our mind, or sometimes we're trying to open our heart to feel everything, but then we do feel a lot, and then we find ourselves closing off, and we feel like we don't know how to not shut down and numb out. So there's just all these ways that we, often don't have a very tender heart for ourselves when we're practicing, and we, get frustrated with ourselves, or we feel like we're not doing it right, or we get frustrated with the practice. And so there's this practice here, the open heart component, can really help with that, because it's practice. We're inherently, when we're doing these direct awakening practices, we're kind of trying to do things that are the opposite of the way we're conditioned to do things. So we're conditioned to relate to life in certain ways, and here we're trying to do the opposite of that, and that then, it takes practice, and we have difficulty, and then we come down on ourselves for it, or get frustrated with the practice. So whether you have a deep and profound experience of having an open heart and spacious mind, or whether you feel more often than not it's hard, or you're tangled up, just make room for all of that. No problem with any of that. compassion, self-compassion, maybe is what I'm talking about.
If the approach to meditation we've been exploring today inspires you, you are invited to tune into a 90-minute online workshop Craig will be hosting called Meditation 2.0, The Miracle of Direct Awakening. In the workshop, he'll share a powerful new approach to meditation practice and guide you in a series of brief meditation experiments so you can experience it for yourself. You can listen to that at freemeditationworkshop.com. That's freemeditationworkshop.com. If you enjoyed today's episode, we hope you'll share our show with others. And please subscribe and rate us wherever you listen to your favorite shows. If you have a minute to write a short review on your podcast app, we would deeply appreciate your support. You can stay connected to the show by subscribing to our newsletter at meditationchangeseverything.com. Each week, we'll send you new audios and videos from Craig, and we'll also let you know when we release new episodes of the show. For a deeper experience of Craig's approach to meditation, consider joining our Awakened Life membership program. Each month, you'll receive in-depth teachings and guidance, including a meditation workshop, 4 guided meditations, and a live online retreat with Craig. And when you register today, you can receive your first month for 50% off. Go to awakenedlifemembership.com to learn more and enroll. That's awakenedlifemembership.com. Check out our show notes for links to all the ways you can stay in touch with Craig's work. Meditation Changes Everything is created by Craig Hamilton, Susan Fries, Mason Ewald, Stephanie Murphy, Will Bowman, and Richard Klein. From all of us, thank you for tuning in.